Welcome to the Small Business Tax Savings Podcast, powered by Jetro. Each week, we bring extremely valuable accounting and tax tips specific to small business owners. You will be on your way to growing your business and putting more money in your pockets. Here's your host.
Hello and welcome back to another episode. Today's topic is, how does the child tax credit work for 2021? Now, before we get into that, this episode is brought to you by the Tax Minimization Program, which is a training program to ensure that you pay the least amount in taxes as legally possible. I am your host, Mike Jesowshek. Again, today's topic is, how does the child tax credit work for 2021? Now, COVID has had such a major impact on everyone's lives in so many different ways. And here as accountants, it also means constantly changing already complex tax laws. So in our free Facebook group and all around the internet, we have been seeing questions on the changes to the child tax credit for 2021. So we're going to take some time in this episode to talk about that one specifically. Now, before we get that, what are some of the typical parameters around the child tax credit? So before we go into 2021 specifically, I want to talk about historically. So for 2018 through 2020 and 2022 through 2025, the maximum annual child tax credit is $2,000 per qualifying child. Now, a qualifying child is under age 17 who could be claimed as your dependent for the year. Now, that $2,000 per qualifying child starts to phase out if modified adjusted gross income exceeds $200,000 if you're single or $400,000 if you're married. Now, note, the credit phased out by $50 per $1,000 of modified gross income in excess of the threshold. So that's traditionally 2018 through 2020 and 2022 through 2025. Maximum child tax credit is $2,000 per qualifying child. Qualifying child is under the age of 17 who can be claimed as your dependent, and it starts to phase out when you have income of $200,000 or more if you're single, or $400,000 or more if you're married. Now, what are the changes to the child tax credit for 2021? For the 2021 tax year only, the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021 makes big, taxpayer-friendly changes to the federal income tax child tax credit. So qualifying children can be up to 17 years old versus under 17 years old. So qualifying children can be up to 17 years old, basically under 18, versus previously it was 17. The maximum child tax credit of $3,000 per qualifying child, or $3,600 at the age of 5 or younger. This will start to phase out. So the increased child tax credit amount, that $1,000 or $1,600 over the original $2,000 traditionally, is phased out for those with income above $75,000 if you're single, or $150,000 if you're married. Now, it's important to note that the regular $2,000 child tax credit is subject to the regular phase-out rules, that $200,000 and $400,000. If you are not eligible for the increased child tax credit amount for 2021 because your income is too high, you can still claim the regular child tax credit of up to $2,000, assuming you're under those phase-out rules. And another thing that they made in this agreement is that the IRS will make advanced child tax credit payments, hopefully. And I say hopefully because, as everyone knows, people that may be waiting on refunds, things like that, we don't know exactly how things are going to actually work, but this is what has been talked about at least. The COVID relief plan establishes a program to make monthly advance payments of the child tax credits here in 2021. Those payments are going to be equal to 50% of what the IRS estimates is going to be your allowable child tax credit for 2021. Those payments are going to be made in equal monthly installments from July through December 2021, and they're going to use the information from your 2020 1040 or your 2019 if you haven't filed yet when doing those estimates. So let's go through an example. Let's say you qualify for a child tax credit in 2021 of $6,000 for two qualifying children, $3,000 and $3,000. The IRS would advance you a total of $3,000, which is 50% of your allowable child tax credit, and they would do that via monthly installments of $500 each for July through December. The remaining $3,000 of the child tax credit, you'll get that when you do your filing on your 2020 Form 1040. So I know this is a lot of information. Hopefully this was helpful. I'm going to run through it again. Traditionally, the child tax credit is $2,000 per qualifying child, and that qualifying child is under the age of 17. In 2021, they're moving that up to a qualifying child can be up to 17 years old versus under 17, up to 17. And the maximum child tax credit that's going to be available for 2021 only is $3,000 versus $2,000, or $3,600 if your child is 5 or younger. Now there's different phase out for this increased amount. So it's normally $2,000, with it now jumping to $3,000 or $3,600. That increased amount of $1,000 or $1,600 above the original amount will start to phase out when you have income above $75,000 if you're single, or $150,000 if you're married. That regular $2,000 child tax credit is still subject to those normal phase out rules, that $200,000 and $400,000. If you're not eligible for that increased child tax credit, that $1,000 or $1,600, because your income is too high, you can still claim the regular child tax credit of $2,000, assuming that you're under those phase out rules. Again, the IRS has said they're going to make some advance payments of the child tax credit here in 2021. And those payments are going to be equal to 50% of what they expect your child tax credit to be. And they use, to find out kind of what they expect your child tax credit to be, they use your 2020 personal tax return or your 2019 if you haven't filed yet. And that 50% of what they estimate the credit to be is going to be made in equal monthly installments from July through December of 2021. So again, let's say you have 2 qualifying children. They each are going to qualify for a $3,000 child tax credit. So you have $6,000 in total. The IRS is going to advance you a total of $3,000, which is 50% of your total child tax credit. That advance is going to be made via monthly payments of $500 for July, August, September, October, November, December. 6 months, July through December. That 50% is split equally between those months. Then the remaining $3,000, the other 50%, you'll receive when you do the filing for your 2020 Form 1040. So again, hope that clears things up. There's been a lot of questions about this child tax credit. We'll see how these advance payments actually work. We're hoping it goes smooth, but you never know. Again, this question came from our Facebook group, and we've been seeing it all across the internet. If you're not part of our Facebook group, join now. It's free. It's called Small Business Tax Secrets. Just go to Facebook, search in Small Business Tax Secrets, answer a few questions, and then join in on the conversation. Ask questions in our free Facebook group that you want us to talk about on future episodes. We also talk about this along with tons of other tax strategies and really deep dive into implementation guides in our tax minimization program. So if you're interested in our tax minimization program, where we have a library of tax strategies, we do bookkeeping training, you have access to our team, we have a private Facebook group, we do monthly group training sessions. If you're interested in our tax minimization program, go to taxsavingspodcast.com/tax. That's taxsavingspodcast.com/tax. We also have just built out a new white paper, the ultimate list of business deductions. So we always get these questions: can I deduct this? Can I deduct that? And basically with this white paper, you can take the guesswork out and find a listing of possible business deductions, every possible business deduction we could think of in this white paper. If you want to get that, go to taxsavingspodcast.com/deductions. taxsavingspodcast.com/deductions. I want to thank you for listening to another episode, and I will see you next week.
This has been another episode of the Small Business Tax Savings Podcast from the team at Jetro. If you enjoy our weekly episodes, please leave a review on whatever platform you listen to us on and share with other business owners. If you have any questions or future topics you want to hear, email them to tax@jetrotax.com. Thanks for listening and have a great day.